You are 12 years old. The sun is going down. Your group has stopped for the night beside a small fire. The adults are talking. Someone is preparing food. A baby is crying somewhere in the darkness. Everything feels normal. Then you hear a scream, not far away. Everyone freezes. The adults grab spears. The scream stops, and nobody moves for a moment, because everyone already knows what probably happened. Tomorrow, someone may not come back. For most of human history, death wasn't surprising. Survival was. Today, making it to adulthood is expected. In many countries, more than 99% of children survive childhood. If somebody dies at 30, it feels tragic and unusual. For ancient humans, it was the opposite. Making it to 30 was an achievement. Making it to old age was remarkable. And the strange thing is that humans were actually very good at surviving compared to most animals. We spread across deserts, we crossed mountains, we survived ice ages, we reached almost every corner of the planet. So how could a species capable of all that be so bad at staying alive? The answer is simple. The world was trying to kill you, constantly, and often in ways you would never expect. Let's start with the most obvious danger: animals. When you imagine ancient humans, you probably picture them hunting mammoths. Movies love that image. But for a very long time, humans were not always the hunters. Sometimes they were the prey. Around 1.8 million years ago, early humans living in Africa shared the landscape with predators that sound almost unbelievable today: lions, leopards, hyenas, saber-toothed cats, giant crocodiles. And all of them saw humans as food. Archaeologists have found ancient human remains with tooth marks from large predators. One particularly haunting example comes from South Africa, where researchers found the skull of a child. The eye sockets contained puncture marks that closely matched the teeth of a leopard. Think about that for a moment. That child wasn't a warrior, wasn't a hunter, wasn't doing anything remarkable. Just a child. And one day, a leopard found them first. This happened often enough that many researchers believe predation was one of the major pressures shaping human evolution. You weren't at the top of the food chain. Not yet. But here's the thing. Predators weren't even the biggest problem. Nature itself was. Imagine waking up one morning with a fever. Your head hurts, your body aches, you can barely stand. Today, you might take medicine, drink water, rest in bed. In a few days, you're probably fine. Now remove all of that. No medicine, no hospitals, no antibiotics, no understanding of bacteria. You don't even know why you're sick. You just know something inside your body has gone wrong. For ancient humans, an infection that modern doctors would barely notice could become a death sentence. A small cut, a scratched leg, a broken tooth, something as ordinary as that could kill you. Archaeologists studying ancient skeletons regularly find evidence of severe infections. Some spread through bone itself, leaving permanent scars behind. Many people never recovered. And disease wasn't limited to injuries. Parasites were everywhere. Contaminated water was common, food spoiled, insects carried illnesses. Even survival itself carried risks. The very activities keeping you alive could also kill you. But perhaps the most surprising threat was something every human needs: other humans. When we imagine ancient life, it's easy to picture peaceful groups sitting around campfires, and sometimes they did. Humans have always been cooperative. In fact, cooperation is probably the reason our species survived at all. But cooperation doesn't erase conflict. Archaeological sites around the world reveal evidence of violence stretching back thousands of years. Broken skulls, embedded spear points, mass graves. One famous site in Kenya, dating back roughly 10,000 years, contains the remains of men, women, and children who appeared to have died during a violent attack. For ancient humans, strangers were often dangerous. You couldn't call for help. You couldn't contact allies. If another group wanted your territory, your food, or your water source, there was often nobody coming to rescue you. You were on your own. And yet, even with predators, disease, and violence all around them, ancient humans kept surviving. So what was their secret? It wasn't strength, it wasn't speed, it wasn't sharper teeth or thicker skin. Compared to many animals, humans are surprisingly unimpressive. A lion is stronger, a wolf is faster, a bear is tougher, a leopard climbs better, an eagle sees farther. Humans lose almost every physical contest nature can invent, so why didn't we disappear? Because we had something else, something much more powerful. A brain capable of solving problems before they happened, and that changed everything. Slowly, very slowly. A fire isn't just warmth, it's protection. A spear isn't just a weapon, it's distance. A group isn't just company, it's insurance. Every tool humans created was really solving the same problem. How do you avoid becoming tomorrow's skeleton? And over thousands of generations, those solutions started working, but not nearly as well as you might think. Because even when humans became smarter, nature kept finding new ways to win. And perhaps nowhere was that more obvious than childbirth. Today, childbirth is still serious, but it is also one of the safest periods in human history. Doctors monitor pregnancies, hospitals are available, emergency surgery exists. Modern medicine can solve problems that would have been impossible for ancient humans. Now imagine all of that disappearing. No doctors, no hospitals, no understanding of infection, no emergency procedures, just a small group of people doing the best they can. For ancient women, childbirth was one of the most dangerous events of their entire lives. Human babies have unusually large heads. At the same time, humans walk upright, which narrows the shape of the pelvis. Those two facts created a difficult compromise. Researchers sometimes call it the obstetric dilemma. In simple terms, human birth is unusually complicated compared to many other animals. A baby positioned the wrong way, a labor lasting too long, excessive bleeding. Any one of these could become fatal. And when a mother died, the danger didn't end there. A newborn without adequate care often faced terrible odds as well. Many ancient cemeteries contain large numbers of infants and young children. The evidence is heartbreaking. For much of human history, losing children was not rare, it was part of life. Parents loved their children just as fiercely as parents do today, but they also lived with a reality most modern people never experience. They knew not every child would survive. And that brings us to one of the most misunderstood facts about ancient life expectancy. You've probably heard that ancient humans only lived to about 30 years old. That sounds shocking, but it isn't quite true. People absolutely could reach 60, 70, or even older. Archaeologists have found many examples. The problem was getting there. Childhood was incredibly dangerous. Disease was dangerous. Accidents were dangerous. Violence was dangerous. When many people die young, the average age drops dramatically. Imagine 10 people. 5 die before age 10. The other 5 reach 70. The average still looks surprisingly low. That's what happened throughout much of human history. Ancient humans weren't dropping dead the moment they turned 30. Many became grandparents, some became elders, some lived long enough to carry decades of knowledge inside their heads, but countless others never got the chance. And sometimes survival came down to something almost absurdly random: a loose rock, a slippery riverbank, a falling tree, a bad winter, a drought, a lightning strike. You are walking across uneven ground. You twist your ankle. Today, that's frustrating. 10,000 years ago, it could become catastrophic. If your group moves and you cannot keep up, everything changes. Food becomes harder to get. Predators become a greater threat. A simple injury can start a chain reaction. This is something modern people often forget. Ancient humans lived much closer to the edge. There was less room for mistakes, less room for bad luck. A problem that feels minor today could become life-changing overnight. And yet, despite all of this, humans succeeded. That is the remarkable part. Not because survival was easy. Because it was so difficult. The archaeological record is full of evidence that humans helped one another survive. One of the most famous examples comes from Shanidar Cave in modern-day Iraq. Researchers discovered the remains of an older man who had suffered multiple serious injuries. One arm was badly damaged. He likely had vision problems. His body showed signs of disability that would have made independent survival extremely difficult. And yet, he lived for years. Think about what that means. Someone gathered food for him. Someone protected him. Someone cared enough to keep him alive, again and again. The same pattern appears throughout human history. Humans survived because humans helped humans. Not every time, not perfectly, but often enough. When a child was orphaned, someone stepped in. When a hunter was injured, others shared food. When an elder could no longer travel easily, the group adapted. The strongest human advantage was never muscle, it was cooperation. A lion survives because it has claws. A wolf survives because it has teeth. Humans survive because they can build relationships. And that may be the most important lesson ancient life leaves behind. Because when we look back, it's easy to focus on how dangerous everything was. The predators, the diseases, the injuries, the violence. But that's only half the story. The other half is that humans kept finding ways forward, generation after generation, against odds that seem almost impossible today. Every person alive right now is the result of an unbroken chain of survival stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. Your ancestors survived droughts, they survived ice ages, they survived infections, they survived predators, they survived accidents that could have ended entire family lines. And somehow, despite all of it, they made it. You exist because they did. So were ancient humans bad at staying alive? In one sense, absolutely. By modern standards, their world was unbelievably dangerous. Death was everywhere. Children died. Adults died. Injuries that seem trivial today could become fatal. Life was fragile. But maybe that's the wrong way to think about it, because ancient humans weren't failing at survival. They were surviving one of the most difficult environments any human beings have ever faced. And when you look at it that way, the real story becomes clear. Ancient humans didn't suck at staying alive. It's just that staying alive was incredibly hard. And somehow, against predators, disease, weather, violence, and sheer bad luck, they managed to do it anyway. Long enough for you to be here, listening to this story thousands of years later. That might be the most remarkable survival story of all.